Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We're talking some cricket now. 8 teams are battling for honours in the CG United Super50 competition, with players adapting well to the first 50-over tournament played in the Caribbean since February last year. The 6 traditional teams are joined in this year's competition by West Indies Academy and the combined campuses and colleges teams. Dominic Warren is Commercial Director for Cricket West Indies, and he now joins us to talk about this tournament. Dominic, welcome to the Zone. Great to have you on. Can we start here? A couple of years now getting sponsorship backing from CG United. How satisfied are you with that aspect of things and the prospect of CG United carrying on this sponsorship beyond this year?
Thanks for having me, first of all. I think it's great to have had CG United on board, that they partner with us across all of the 50-over cricket in terms of the men's and women's one-day internationals for the West Indies, as well as for the CG United Super 50 Cup for the men's and women as well. So it's wonderful that they're a Caribbean business. Yeah, they're based in Bermuda, but they've expanded very rapidly and recently acquired the United Insurance business that was previously Massey United. So having a Caribbean business heavily involved in cricket makes a huge difference, and the investment really goes into developing the players, particularly when you've got the likes of the West Indies Academy playing in the Super 50 this year.
Yeah, and we did have the emerging team winning before, and the campuses and colleges team, which are developmental teams, winning one championship, I think, 4 seasons ago. So that's a good sign. But generally, Dominic, can you talk to us quickly about the fact that the product West Indies cricket for a couple of decades now hasn't been as attractive as it had been in the 70s, 80s, and maybe the early part of the 90s, and the difficulty that presents as a marketer for West Indies cricket?
I think fundamentally the West Indies story is still very, very strong and exciting, especially outside of the region. I know it's looking back on really good feel good times in terms of 70s, 80s and 90s, but wherever you go in the world, people really want to see West Indies cricket do well. The major cricketing nations are really excited when West Indies come, and they still are actively trying to get West Indies cricket on their TV channels in terms of their social media, and particularly following the players. I think it's certainly been a tough time, but it's always exciting with West Indies cricket, and you guys would know better than that. There's always ups and there's always downs, and I think one of the things that is the story of West Indies cricket, which really does work, is that against the odds, West Indies cricket at every level has always succeeded, with limited resources, and that if you compare ourselves to the bigger nations in cricket, it's incredible how we've punched a long way above our weight for a long period of time. We've still got the talent. We've got some exciting young players. It's very much time for a new generation. And it's certainly difficult in the commercial world and the sponsorship world generally everywhere at the moment because of COVID and because of everything that's going on with energy crises and the war in Ukraine and how companies are watching their spend. But we still think we've got a very strong product. We're obviously working very hard. We know we can, and we are trying harder to make it stronger and more appealing. And I think our most important focus is really on the next generation of West Indies fans coming through to support the next generation of players. And with the T20 World Cup in mind in 2024, which will be hosted here in the Caribbean and also partly in the USA, we've got a very big eye to that, to try and use that as a very strong catalyst to increase appeal, bring back the excitement, and hopefully the new generation of players will be thriving as they build their experience accordingly.
Right, and as you mentioned, the fans, how pleased are you with the turnout for the CG United Super 50 Cup so far?
We'd always like to see full stadium. It's always a little frustrating when you have a few blocks of empty seats. I think it is a little bit difficult with the scheduling in terms of we have to fit it into a certain window, but we try to get as many games as we can to the weekend times, and certainly for the day-night games. I think it also, as all tournaments find out, when you're hosting matches where you can essentially only have two host teams in terms of the Super 50, with the Leewards for the Antigua zone, excuse me, and Trinidad, excuse me, and Trinidad for the other zone. You're always really got only two home teams who can come out, but Leewards and Trinidad are performing very well. Certainly for the Antigua zone and the semi-finals and the final. I'm just glancing up to my right to see how Leewards are getting on against the West Indies Academy. If they're going to make the semi-finals, which it looks likely they will, I think that'll make a big difference.
Right. Any plans, just plans off the top of your head to ensure that, the product continues to attract the attention that you want?
Yeah, I think we are investing quite heavily in the marketing of it in terms of digital and digital activities, radio, press promotion. We've got an exciting skills challenge working with CG United where you can win an all-expensive trip to watch any West Indies game anywhere in the Caribbean, where the ability to catch ball and catch a high ball and throw down the stumps in terms of a run out. And we're increasingly looking to do more activations like that within the stadium. We've obviously got all of the matches being streamed that aren't live on TV, and with a lot of social media presence as well. So that's the core of what we do, but certainly we're looking to do more. We're looking to build more excitement into the stadium experience, more music, more visual entertainment, so that people who aren't as into their cricket but want to come for the lime or just want to come to have a different experience can get a lot more fun and excitement out of it as well. So we know we can do more. We're looking on doing more, and as I said, coming out of COVID, we started to invest more. And as we build into 2023, we hope to see even more of that come, both for the Super 50 Cup and for the West Indies Internationals as well.
Yeah, Dominic, based on the scheduling of this particular tournament, we see where, because of the close proximity to the Australia Test Tour, a couple of the red ball players would have had to leave their teams and they would have lost some key players. Was there any effort to shift this tournament maybe a little earlier so that the players who straddle both red ball and white ball cricket could have completed the Super 50 and still join the Test team?
Yeah, it's always one of the things we look at scheduling. There's nothing that's quite perfect, really, but because clash one side with the World Cup and clash the other side with the Australia Test Series, and obviously both being very important in terms of different formats of the game. There was really not many other options this time. What we have done, we've allowed a later submission of squads. We've allowed more flexibility in the squads, both for returning players from the T20 World Cup and to give the chance for the players that are in the Test squad to play in the CG United Super 50 Cup as well. I think one of the things beyond the T20s, it's always difficult to schedule a regional tournament wherever you are in the world these days away from international cricket. We really try, because we want the big names playing. We know the fans want that, and the players want to be playing with the best competition available. I think one of the, as an example, we work with Cricket West Indies, we work with the CPL to ensure that there's a specific window for the CPL itself to make sure that the best players are playing in the T20. And whilst we haven't been able to do that this year with the Super 50, we have tried our best. And actually, if you look back at February 2021, we pretty much had most of the key players in the West Indies playing in the last edition of the CG United Super 50, the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force won, with Karen Pollard and I'm trying to think, Poran Seals in that team, Jason Mohammed, Darren Bravo, for example. And I think in the team all of the teams there had their strongest players out. So in summary, we always want the best players available. This year's just been difficult, and I think post-COVID, as you're probably aware, all of the scheduling has actually ended up with one of the biggest and busiest years of cricket ever in terms of 2022, and it's unlikely to be replicated. So next time round, we've also got to fit it around the 2023 ICC World Cup, which is later next year, and that's one of the key opportunities with the CG United Super 50 Cup this year, is the opportunities for players to put themselves up for selection in terms of what's going to be a key year for one-day internationals looking ahead to the World Cup, potentially the World Cup qualifiers before that as well.
Okay, so Dominico, good luck. We've got to leave it there, but thanks for talking to us. To the tournament's credit, it has been competitive. I can see that in the past hour we saw Trinidad and Tobago Red Force defeating the Ghana Harpy Eagles, who were the group leaders in Zone A, with half centuries from Nicholas Pooran and Jid Gooley, along with Yannick Correa getting a 3-wicket haul as well. So T&T joint top of the table. So the competitiveness is there. So I think the fans will be glued into the next few days to see the semi-finalists and who will eventually emerge champions. Thanks, Dominic, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dominic Warren there from Cricket West Indies Marketing. And we have a lot more to come on the SportsMax Zone. Some heavy football talk coming up after the break.